Hi there, Face here from NickJr. You're watching a podcast that's full of love and pride.
Welcome to Nostalgia Pride Podcast.
It's showtime!
Welcome back to another episode of Nostalgia Pride Podcast. Yes, so I'm your host, AlisonClarke, and I'm so happy that you guys are here with me once again. Now, there are lots of people that I have been waiting to have on my show for so long, and today's guest is one of them. He's known for doing voiceover work in PB and J Otter, be, Between the Lions, and of course, a lot of us remember him as the voice of Face. Everyone, welcome Chris Phillips. Chris, how Chris, how are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me, Allison. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too. Man, I have been waiting to have you on my show for a long time because my podcast is turning 2 years old this year in April.
Wow. An early happy birthday to you.
Aw, thanks.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So just so to get started, just so a lot of voice actors have started off in the industry very differently. So how did it start off for you, and where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in New York City. I'm an
I'm
old
from
city kid.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. Well, I'm from New York City too.
Yay. Uh,
Yay!
Love it. Just can't get out of my blood.
That's
But
right.
you know how it is. But
Yeah.
so I have a younger sister. Well, my grandfather gave me a tape recorder when I was a little kid, and I would grab my sister on a snow day from school, and we'd do like a little fake radio show at home. And I was always making recordings. When I got older, I took old, like, scary stories, ghost stories, and things you'd tell at a campfire, and get friends of mine. We would make like a radio play version, and I had sound effect records, and I'd put all that. So I was doing that kind of stuff when I was a kid. I hadn't even thought about what I was gonna. I figured I wanted to be an actor, at
Mhm.
first.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so years passed. I went to this college, Emerson College in Boston, and it was great. And I met my closest friends till this day there. And I joined a comedy group. We started a comedy group there. There was no comedy, and at Emerson now they still have the Emerson Comedy Workshop till this day. And it's crazy. And between the sketches, when they were going to reset up the stage, the lights would go out and they would put on an audio bit that my buddy Eddie Brill and I would record. And Eddie's a stand-up comic these days, and worked for Letterman and all that. And he and I
Mm.
just put these in a studio. We would put audio bits together. And so I was constantly doing that kind of thing from when I was a kid in through college. Then out of college, I was in a beach movie, a rock and roll beach movie called Beach House. It's
Mm.
not so good. It's kind of a stinker. Should have been called Outhouse. But, it was a lot of fun to make. And
Mm.
my buddy Eddie and I ended up doing radio spots for it. And the producer of the spots called me in, and I started. He was doing children's records, and I worked with him. And then through him, I met somebody else. And I would do like books on tape so you could listen and read along and learn how to read. And it was because of all of that that I just sort of got into the business. So it's funny, I've been working with like animation and kid stuff since the beginning of my career, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And also from doing my research, you also did some additional voices in 5 episodes for Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
I think there might even have been more than five actually, because
Mm.
I did a lot of work for them. That was a
Mm.
lot of fun, that gig. I did
Yeah.
them in a studio in New York, but every now and then they would ask me to go to the studio where they were filming the show in Queens.
Mm.
And so I'd hang out with Rockapella and the host Greg, and that was great. I met Lynn Thigpen, the boss, and she was terrific. And it was a lot of fun. It was a very loose set, and everybody was having a blast, and uh, and that was great. I loved doing that show. There were a
Yeah,
lot of funny characters on that.
yeah. Lynn Thigpen was the what was the voice of Luna from Bear in the Big Blue
Oh,
House.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that show brings back a lot of memories for me as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So terrific. I
Yeah.
used to see the bass singer, Barry Carl of Rockapella. He also did voiceovers, so he and I would run into each other a lot at sessions, and I'd
Mm-hmm.
always try to imitate him.
Because he's got that really deep voice, you know. And hey, Barry, how you?
You know,
Be like, don't do that.
you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I know that you were also the announcer for Cartoon Network.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So how many years were you the announcer for Cartoon Network?
I can't remember. It was a few years, like 4 or 5 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of started. There was a guy I was working at occasionally at a studio called Nutmeg years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a smaller studio before it expanded to a big studio. And there was a guy that was doing some promo work for the Cartoon Network. They hadn't really started to air yet, and I was like very excited. I think I originally auditioned to do like Yogi Bear and Magilla Gorilla voices,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I did a great job on those, but I don't think I booked those. I ended up booking something else, and then they asked me to do a couple of like promos, which turned into the job of being the voice for it. And I wasn't
Yeah,
even doing my own voice. It was more of a voice like this on the Cartoon Network. It was an older guy, and everybody was based in Atlanta, the whole Cartoon Network. So I only spoke to them over headphones and a microphone. And
mm,
I was touring. There's a friend of mine that I would perform with every now and then, friend Dennis Leary, an actor, comedian. And so I've written songs for him and with him, and we would go on the road and tour a bit. We went to Atlanta, and I met everybody there, and they were all surprised. They went, "Oh my God, I thought you were so much older because of the voice, on the air." And I went,
mm.
"Yeah, but I talk to you in my regular voice. I only do that one when I'm reading the script." So like, "Oh yeah, right." But that was great. That was a great bunch of people there at Cartoon Network back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. And since I happen to be bilingual,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, 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 because since I happen to sing and talk in Spanish.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, 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 and yeah, and I that yeah, but yeah, but the one who inspired me to sing in Spanish was Selena.
Oh, well, yeah, she's very inspirational.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I I tried taking Spanish when I was a kid, and I only ended up our Spanish teacher would always get really mad and start swearing in Spanish. So all the
mm.
kids we picked up on those words, and everybody learned all the dirty words, but didn't do too well in the rest of the class. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. So speaking of Selena, would it be okay if I sing some Selena for you?
of course, please.
Quien copa que te da tu padre y tu mamá, aquí solo en poda nuestro amor. Te quiero, amor prohibido, no duran por las calles, porque somos de distintas sociedades. Amor prohibido nos dice todo el mundo, en irena, buen boy, tanti en ni. Miel de corazón. Oh, oh, baby.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive.
Thanks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So how did you end up voicing Cliffhanger from Between the Lions?
Well, I don't really remember. I guess I
Mm,
must have auditioned for it. That's funny. I don't remember how I got the gig, but I remember when I did my first cliffhanger. I went to one studio that I didn't go to again, and I was working with a couple of people, a couple of puppeteers actually at the time, and we sort of came on that upon that voice. And at first I was thinking, man, perhaps he should be more of an explorer. And they went, no, no. And I did this voice and that voice, and they said, well, can kind of make him a little dumber sounding, and like, and I was doing this or whatever. And they went, yeah, do that. And I remember thinking, really, is that the right kind of voice for this? But it really worked. It worked out great. And so yeah, it was sort of like, all right, let's do this one. You know, we sort of fooled around to find that voice because you
Mm-hmm.
never know. Sometimes there's more of a definite preconceived notion, and like the face. When I came up with the voice for face, that was really like the seat of my pants, the last voice I could think of.
Mm.
At the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of my fondest memories was when Face was on Nick Jr., but on what used to be called Nick Jr. on CBS.
Oh right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember Nick Jr. on CBS. Yeah, so Nick Jr. on CBS was this weekend's children's block that aired from September of 2000 to September of 2006. And not that, but one of my favorite memories was when Face was on Nick Jr. And this was during my preschool days whenever me and yeah, so every time me and the kids we would be on the carpet playing, and and then all of a sudden out of nowhere I would say, "Welcome back to Nick Jr."
Yeah. Yay!
Yay! Yeah, yeah, because my love for Face started when I was only 4 years old.
Oh, wow. That's so
Hmm.
cool. You know,
Yeah.
I remember doing some session at a studio and a little girl was there to do a voiceover with me.
Hmm.
And her grandmother came along and her little baby sister, who was literally just a baby, was there. And I was talking to the baby and they said they watched Face. So I went, "Burp, burp, burp," and the baby suddenly went, like that. And I went, oh my God. I couldn't believe that it had that kind of reaction from a baby. So that was unbelievable. The power of television and that
Yeah.
character, that was a thrill. I remember
Hmm.
one time I was at another session, there was a little boy there, and hi there, it's Face. And he ran right by me looking for the TV set. Say, where's Face?
Yeah, 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 and also, yeah. So your time during Face was from 1994 way up to 2003.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then yeah, and then when they brought Face back, yeah, for Nick Jr. play along TV series,
Right.
yeah, so that voice of Face was voiced by the late great Bobby Floyd.
Oh, that was Bobby Floyd.
Yeah, but he unfortunately passed away in
Right.
2013 yeah, from cancer.
Yeah, wow. For some reason I didn't realize that was Bobby Floyd that did that.
Yeah, yeah,
Huh.
yeah, and yeah. So since I was talking with Hillary Hawkins, who was who played Robin on Nick Jr. Play Along TV series, so she and I had a moment of silence for Bobby Floyd.
Oh, that's very sweet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Because whenever there's been a loss of life on, yeah, because on my show, since I always love to have a moment of silence.
I think that's great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, yeah. But did you ever, by chance, get to meet Bobby Floyd?
I kind of feel like I did, you know, must have been I think I did at auditions and stuff like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
where because I'm sure I have met Bobby Floyd. I remember Bobby Floyd. He had sort of a
Yeah.
scratchy voice, as I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So his final performance was at the Apollo Theater in way back in May of 2013.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and since I've only been to the Apollo Theater one time way back in the summer of 2018 to celebrate Michael Jackson because I am a very big Michael Jackson fan.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, yeah. So yeah. So what studio did you do the voiceover for Face? Where were those voiceover sessions done at?
Well, it was all at the same place, and I'm trying to remember the name of the studio. Uh, it was on Broadway, right across from Canal Jeans, which isn't there anymore.
Mm.
The studio, I don't think, is there anymore. it was cool. It was an old building and like a rickety old elevator that you go up, and I think it was Red Dog might have been the name. I don't want to because there was a studio Red Dog, and I forget if that was that one, but I kind of think it was Red Dog, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was just the engineer and myself and a producer, and they changed different. They had a lot of different producers. There was one main one for a while, then they
Hmm.
kept switching around and new different writers, and for some reason everybody found it very difficult to write for face. And to me, it seemed like a really easy one. Just, yes, you're working with a face, but I thought, well, what if we put face like in a store window and, you have kids walking by and then there's face like in the window or on a TV set, in an apartment as you walk by and, hey, there's face. And he talks to you. But
Yeah.
I don't know. None of my
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah, yeah. So aside from Face, you also did some additional voiceover work for Ice Age Continental Drift.
That one, I'm trying to remember. I think I just did some looping for that. And with looping,
Mm,
they've already got the movie together and there are a lot of background characters and in crowd scenes and whatever they don't put anything in it first, and then once the scene sort of is laid out, then they'll say, okay, well, you be this character, you be this, and sometimes they'll give you a little dialogue or just mumble ad lib stuff like,
Oh, what's this crowd all about here? Let me get it.
hey, get out of my way, pal, or whatever the scene is. And so I think that's what because I was trying to remember. I've seen something on IMDb or whatever. Somebody asked me that question about Continental Drift, and I was like, I couldn't remember what I did, but I think it was looping, and that my buddy Dennis
mm,
is in that movie, all
mm.
those Ice Age movies.
Yeah, 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 and also you also did some voiceover work for Care Bears for 3 episodes in 1988.
Did I?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what it says on Wikipedia.
I can't remember. Sometimes they give me the wrong credit. Like there was one movie. I can't remember the movie. It was a movie with Matt Dillon. Um, oh, it was a famous movie. The teacher that has an affair with one of her students and has him kill her husband or something, and Better
Mm,
Off Dead or something like that. And I had a credit for being in that movie. I hadn't even seen that movie. So,
mm,
sometimes things happen. But
yeah,
the Care Bears, I'm not, you know, sometimes I think that I didn't do anything in a project, and then I find out, oh, yeah, I did do that, and I totally forgot.
yeah, because it's been so long.
It's been so long. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes the sessions are so quick, and one session sometimes feels like another because you're just in a studio, with a script in front of you, and they
Mhm.
sort of blend in after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since I was inspired by lots of different podcasters to do a podcast of my own, and of course, shout out to my good friend Jake Deffenbaugh from Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show.
Hey, Jake, how are you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, me and Jake have been friends for, for quite some time because we both call each other our favorite nostalgia buddies. Yeah, because he and I have a huge love for nostalgia because the word nostalgia has kept our bond strong. It's kept us together for pretty much the entire time that we've known each other.
Nostalgia is I'm Mr. Nostalgia myself, and
Yeah.
younger
Hmm.
version. So my nostalgia goes back a little farther. But one
Yeah.
of the things about getting into the voiceover world, because I watched so much TV as a kid, I still do.
Hmm.
And as I got more and more into voiceovers, I started working with people that I grew up watching on TV. I was like, oh
Hmm.
my God, you were the TV repairman in the Duncan Hines commercial, or you were the
Yeah.
mailman in this. And, it was great. And the actors couldn't believe I remembered all their credits. And I was like, are you kidding? Your resume is my video collection.
Yeah, and yeah, and I know that you did television and radio work for I think
Mm.
yes, I want to make sure that I got this right. Yes, you did some work for Lucky Charms. You did some work for the Honey Nut Cheerios commercials. Um uh New York Lottery, eBay, Arby's.
Yeah, oh yeah. I was
Mm-hmm.
actually the voice of the Honey Nut Cheerio bee for, I think, two spots that ran just briefly here and there, or in a radio spot or something for college radio. But
And don't forget, and don't forget Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs, oh yeah.
Yeah.
In one spot, I was actually Sonny the cuckoo bird
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
Larry, the guy that was doing the voice, had been sick for a while,
Mm.
and so I went in and nobody knew the difference. And they
Yeah.
played it for Larry, and Larry went, "Oh my God, you just scared the heck out of me," you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
he actually, I cleaned that up a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "Oh, don't do that."
Yeah, yeah. So way back in 2007, you were brought back to Cartoon Network to do an announcer just for May of 2007 only, I believe, for what was known as Cartoon Network Overload or something like that.
Was that a face? Was that doing face for that?
Hmm.
Oh no,
That
that would have been that would have been Nickelodeon.
no.
I forget
Hmm.
what I did for Cartoon Overload. That sounds familiar, though.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know you did some stuff for for Nicktoons.
Yeah, I was the original voiceover for the Nicktoons Network.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of,
Yeah.
I've been like the main voice, one of the main voices for Comedy Central. When South Park first started, I was doing all the promos for that and BattleBots.
Those deeper, tough voices like that. BattleBots and
Yeah.
South Park and the next South Park.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just goofy.
Yeah. Yeah. So when they brought Face back for both the Nick Jr. Play Along TV series and did you by chance get to see that?
Um, I don't know. I must have seen parts of it
Yeah.
because I try to watch, a lot of the stuff that I end up doing, and sometimes I don't get a chance to even see it, and maybe until years later or on YouTube.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, because remember, since I've sent you some stuff from,
right,
yeah, and yeah, especially the one with the mambo.
right. Every now and
Yeah,
then somebody sends me something, and I was like, "Wow, I totally forgot about that," or "I didn't
yeah,
remember I did that."
yeah, yeah, and especially that Nick Jr. jingle that only aired from 1999 to 2000, and I still remember what your opening line was for that. What's that place on TV?
Right,
Nick
right.
Jr. is just for me.
That one was it's funny. I would get songs every now and then, and that one was fully written. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times they would just write some lyrics and have me make up melodies. Most of the time, all those songs I made up the melodies for. But
Mm-hmm.
that one was structured, but that was
Yeah.
so much fun. Face
Yeah.
was one of my favorite jobs of all of the ones that I've done.
Yeah, and yeah, and of course, my favorite memories of all time of Face would have to be on the VHS tapes that I used to have as a kid.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with that opening, man, I binge watched the opening.
Really.
Yeah, yeah, you remember with all those kids doing funny things.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be playing music, baking cookies, playing outside. Yeah, and then all of a sudden they all run inside the house to watch the video.
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, since I have no idea what those kids look like now, I don't know what they're
Right.
doing. I don't know where they are, man. Yeah, because I don't even know their names. But yeah, but man, I would love to have any one of those kids on my show someday, even though they're hard to track down.
I was just gonna say, I don't know how you'd find them. Even the folks that were the producers of those spots might not be able to locate the kids, but
Yeah.
just have the names or something.
Yeah, and you know that. Yeah, and you know that. Since I used to fantasize about working with those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, since I have a lot of happy little fantasies in my head about working on Nick Jr.
Well, if any of those kids are out there watching, contact Allison.
Aw,
Yeah.
now stop with the flattery routines.
Got to get them in to do the show.
Aw, go on with ya. Yeah, yeah, but do you remember watching those VHS openings?
Yeah, it's funny. I have a bunch of VHS tapes. I've got so many. I keep meaning to transfer. When COVID first hit, I thought this will be the time when I now have the chance to take all of my old VHSs and transfer them. I didn't do one thing like that. I don't know what the heck I did, but I still have them. And I've got
Mhm.
all these old face promos on VHS. They have the time code on them and all.
Mhm.
I was going to send them to a friend of mine, Bob Runkle, DJ Bob. Do you know DJ
Oh
Bob?
yeah, yeah. You know that he has cerebral palsy, just like me.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he's a
yeah,
sweet breed. He's a great guy.
yeah, yeah. Even though his cerebral palsy and my cerebral palsy are very different. Now, the big difference about my cerebral palsy is that I'm half paralyzed on both the left side of my body. Yeah, so
Ah,
I'm paralyzed in both my left arm and my left leg.
right, right.
Yeah, because I was born premature.
You know, you guys are incredible. I mean, you're doing these podcasts and stuff, and you don't let anything get you down or get in your way.
That's right.
And
hmm
that's just wonderful.
Yeah, because if DJ Bob can do a podcast with his cerebral palsy, so can I.
You're damn right.
Yeah, yeah, because the word nostalgia has been my catchphrase ever since I was 21 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah, because since I waited a long time to do this show, because way back in 2021, since I wasn't going to do my podcast in 2021, no, but 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 2021 was going good for me, but it ended badly due to the loss of my dad.
oh, I'm so sorry. I know, right?
Yeah, you remember
Yeah.
me telling you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so my dad lost his battle with throat cancer in November of 2021, just 2 days before my grandmother's birthday.
Uh, mm,
Yeah. Yeah, he was
I'm so
only in his
sorry.
yeah, I mean, he was only in his early 60s.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
hear you.
Because whenever I'm inspired by somebody, since this is something that always happens. Yeah, so first I get inspired by somebody, and then I suffer a loss, and 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 then I wait a long time to do what I'm inspired by.
Right. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but that a lot of times works that way. You kind of suss everything out, and it that kind of stuff makes you think and reassess where you're going in life and
yeah,
try to hit the goals you want. And
hmm
uh, well, you're
yeah,
doing great. You're doing incredible stuff, and now I get to be on the show.
yeah, yeah. And not only that, but you're more than welcome to do collabs with me anytime.
Oh, thanks very much.
Of course, yeah, and yeah, and yeah. So aside from doing face, and yeah, so how did you end up doing work on Bubble Guppies? Because I know that you were the voice of Mr. Grouper.
Right. Well, actually, I'm the singing voice of
Yeah,
Mr.
the
Grouper.
singing voice.
Right. The talking voice is a guy named Tino, and he got ill and passed away, and so
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good friend of his took over.
yeah. I mean, I know his. Yeah, I mean, I know his voice. Yeah, because he was the voice of Pig and from Barnyard.
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, I love that movie, even though it's sad a little bit. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I love the yeah. I mean, Barnyard, the original Party Animals, and Back at the Barnyard, fond memories.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that voice, I mean, that job, the two creators of that, Johnny Belt and Richard Skull, did a project that I was working on called Mighty Bug 5.
Mm,
And that was a lot of fun. That was great, and I got to do a ton of different voices, and that's how we sort of met. I guess I auditioned for it and booked it, and we ended up getting along really well, and having a lot of laughs and excuse me, change of weather and stuff like that. I'm a little phlegmy,
that's
but
okay.
yeah, but those guys were just terrific and very encouraging for me to do tons of voices. And then they
Mm,
started working on Bubble Guppies, and we must have been working on it. I almost feel like we were working on it for like 5 to 7 years before it hit the airwaves. It
mm,
seemed like it just over and over again. It couldn't have been quite that long now that I
yeah.
think of it, but it was a number of years, and there were lots of changes made. And originally, I think I was reading the Mr. Grouper stuff.
Mm,
Then I ended up reading all these other characters, and so I'm a million different characters on Bubble Guppies. So
yeah.
that's that's great.
Yeah, and also you even did some voiceover work in some video games too. Like you were the voice of Face in a Nick Jr. math game.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, some of the other video games were
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Yeah,
Mm,
three. That was the that particular one that I was on was the first one that got a lot of controversy. With like killings and
yeah.
robbing people and whatnot and taking off and all that. And I was proud to be a part of that.
Oh.
And a lot of
Yeah.
yeah, like a game called Mafia and Max Payne 1 and 2 and Red Dead Revolver. But I wish I had been in the next one, which was the Red Dead Redemption, because
Mm.
that's the one everybody played. So,
Yeah, yeah, and also you also did some voiceover work in in another one of my favorite Nick Jr. shows, which happens to be Team Umizoomi.
oh yeah, that was a great one.
Dormouse, Dormouse.
That's how I ended up doing a lot
Yes.
of it, but Dormouse was how I got into Team Umizoomi. There was
Mm.
somebody else that was doing Dormouse, a friend of mine, Joe, and he ended up leaving the show, medical reasons and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
so they asked me to take over. And at first, I think for 1 or 2 episodes, I was sort of imitating what Joe was doing, and then they said, well, let's make it more of your own, and we changed it around and ended up with different Dormouse voice. But then I was like Silly Bear and Zim and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of bad guys in that, a lot of evil characters, and
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
which is always so much fun to play.
Yeah, 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 and also you did some voiceover work as Ernest Otter and Munchie and Captain Crane, and of course PB and J Otter, which I used to always watch as a kid on Playhouse Disney, and I'm happy that it's on Disney Plus, but I haven't seen
Yeah,
that show in so long.
me too, me too.
Yeah.
That was another
Mm-hmm.
great show. That was
Mm-hmm.
I ended up doing that because of working on Doug.
That's right.
The Disney version of Doug.
That's
I
right.
originally, it's funny, I'd gone to the auditions for Doug, the
Mm-hmm.
first season on Nickelodeon, but all the main characters had already been cast. And so when I read for it, I don't know what happened. I didn't really get anything, but I ended up working with Jumbo Pictures, the people that made that. We did a show called Hoyt and Andy's Sports Bender that
Mm-hmm.
never hit the airwaves. We did an entire season, and it couldn't find the balance between whether it wanted to be a kids show or something more for adults. It was animated, and it was about a sports network, and there were these two guys, Hoyt and Andy, who were total slobs,
Mm-hmm.
idiots, and they had a sport. They had the sports show. There were various other shows on within the network,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just the goofy things that happen and the stuff that happens in the studio and the different sporting events they go to try to cover, and and they're always hanging out at the bar drinking. So it was a combination of adult themes and kids stuff, and it never made the air and never hit the airwaves. But
Mm-hmm.
because of that, I ended up knowing everybody and working with everybody at Jumbo. And when they were going to move Doug to ABC for Saturday mornings, Billy West decided to move to LA at the time. And one thing led to another, and I ended up replacing him on the voice of Roger Klotz, and then a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of other characters as well. And Billy and I know each other; we go way back as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I always try to be respectful when I'm doing somebody else's characters. And fortunately, Billy, kind of gave me an okay on that one. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And Doug then led me into PB and J Otter because it was
Mm.
the same producers, the same, you know,
Oh, so the same people?
all the same people. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, and I that yeah, yeah, but that my boyfriend yes, since he lives in New York too. Yeah, 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 because since he grew up on Phase 2.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so me and my boyfriend are going to be celebrating our anniversary just next month.
Wow. Happy anniversary.
Oh, thanks, Face. Aw,
Yay!
yay. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and not only that, yeah, but since my boyfriend is also helping me get in touch with people too, that since he's Facebook friends with some people from Nickelodeon.
Oh, what, really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and just because since my boyfriend is very supportive of me, he really enjoys what I'm doing.
Oh, that's great. Well, I do too. I mean, nostalgia, it's right up my alley, as you know. So,
Yeah, yeah, and the reason why my show is called Nostalgia Pride Podcast is because because nostalgia is what I have full pride in. Remember, like I said before, since it's been my catchphrase ever since I was 21, and it's
right.
something, yeah, and it's something that I've had full pride in ever since, pretty much ever since my early 20s.
I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah, and some people call me the queen of nostalgia, or the queen of the backyardigans.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, because the Backyardigans, it happens to be the show that since I talk about a lot on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've interviewed a couple people from the Backyardigans.
I think I've worked with people that worked on that show, but yeah, I wish I had gotten involved with that one too.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been a lot of fun. Yeah, I
I
mean,
want to
hey,
be in every cartoon.
yeah, yeah, hey, that, yeah, because they should have cast me as the singing voice of Uniqua.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because since I'm very much like Uniqua.
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, because since I'm always happy and always singing.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a missed
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, and yeah, but rest in peace to Janice Burgess.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Janice Burgess. I mean, since I talk about her a lot on this show, yeah, yeah, because the stuff that she did. I mean, because everything she did. I mean, that a lot of it means so much to me.
Oh, yeah, I never met
Yeah.
her, unfortunately. But,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, but unfortunately, since I never got the chance to meet her,
right.
because next month is 1 year without her.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to lose her right, yeah, yeah. I mean, right after her birthday. Mm,
Mhm.
yeah,
Well,
and she was only 72.
that's what's so great about your show is that you get to meet all these people and kind of bring them back and expose them to everybody else, and
Of course,
that's the best part of nostalgia is to kind of keep it alive, to keep
exactly.
all that stuff going.
Hmm.
I'm so right there with you.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, I mean, so what's next? I mean, what are you doing these days?
Still doing voiceovers. The whole business has changed a lot.
Mm,
You don't really go in to do stuff in person anymore. All my auditions are here at home. I'm in my booth, as you see,
yeah.
and so it's all happening here. But I, which is it's sort of it's a real bummer because it was so much more of a social scene. You'd start off the day, you'd go to an audition. There'd be a bunch of folks there. One guy might come in with a new impersonation of somebody, and by the end of the day, everybody's doing that same impersonation. Or one
Hmm.
person knows a joke. They come in, they tell something. By the end of the day, everybody's heard the joke, and
Exactly.
it was just great. And you'd go from a booking to an audition to a booking to an audition. It was wonderful. Now it's very different, and everything's from home, sessions, auditions. There's a lot more non-union than union jobs out there, and it's a different world. But I'm still I'm still hanging in there. Pardon me.
Mm,
I'm still hanging in there. I just did a bunch of stuff for Mint Mobile.
mm,
I think it's mostly online stuff. Although I was scanning through the dials the other day and I saw a Mint Mobile thing on the TV guide and I watched it. It was an infomercial, and like
mm,
4 or 5 of the spots that I had done for them were in this infomercial. Like, hey, cool,
mm.
that's what they need.
Yeah.
You know, you never know where things are going to end up sometimes. So
Yeah, yeah, and that I'm happy that they brought Face back for when they did Faces. What was it, dance party or music party?
yeah, I think dance party. I think,
Yeah,
or maybe it was music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes. Since it was really good to see Face being brought back like that.
Yeah, it was a very different type of face, and
Yeah.
the whole
Mm-hmm.
vibe was different. I miss the old face. I would have loved to have come back and done face, but and I understand they want to change things up.
Yeah. I mean, even though there's three different versions of Face, since I'm
Yeah.
happy with all three of them, I love all
Oh,
three of
good.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like
Yeah.
but as a kid, I would notice when they would change voices. Like, this is my era. I remember when they changed the voice of Fred Flintstone. You know,
Mm,
hey, that's not the same guy doing it. But then they had that guy's voice for many, many years afterwards. So then that became the regular voice. Similar,
yeah.
but I could tell the difference.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and also since I know you also voiced as Face in 2011 for some sort of a New Year's Eve stick Clark New Year's
Right.
Eve.
That's right. That's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from what I heard that Face was drunk. He was drunk.
I forget if a face was drunk, but yeah, I think yeah, yeah, I think so.
Because since I love how people do their own versions of Face and try to
Oh yeah,
because I've seen it. It's really good.
me too. There's some funny ones on YouTube out there.
Yeah. Hmm.
And some that don't sound anything like face, but they're just funny.
Yeah. Since I'm happy with the animation that they do too.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
it's just like it's great that people remember face. It's great that face lives because of that. So
Exactly. Yeah. Man. Man, Chris, man, today was just so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
thanks for having me. I hope I wasn't just blabbing away and boring everybody out there, but I had a lot of fun. It's great to hang out with you.
Yeah. I mean, you're welcome back on my podcast anytime. I'd love to have you back.
Thanks very much. I'll
Yeah.
keep that in mind. Sure.
Yeah, because I'm so happy to call you a friend of mine. I love you, and yeah, and
A lot.
because since I'm happy to see where our friendship goes from here, and I can't wait to cross paths with you again soon.
That sounds great. I love you too, Allison.
Yeah, and and of course I love you too, as always.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
You're welcome. And of course, thank you guys for watching Nostalgia Pride Podcast. And remember that memories of nostalgia will help you build your nostalgia pride.
That's right.
Yeah. And of course, as Face always says, what does Face say at the end of every single closing of every single video?
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.